TJ the Wheel Deal coming at you live. It is Thursday, I believe. I think it's Thursday. Yeah, Thursday, November the 21st, 10:16 a.m. Central Time, Texas time. So if I just reached a 52-week high, according to Yahoo Finance, $15.20. So that part's good. We're going to talk a little SoFi today, but we're also going to talk a little Riot. We went to the facility yesterday. It was awesome. I got G Money here with me. He's even wearing the little lanyard from Riot. So we're like Team Riot here today, baby. They gave us some goodies over there. Absolutely awesome. We'll get into all of that. And we'll get into all of that later today. Let me put this thing on my neck before my dog chokes himself with it. So anyway, there's that. So it's a good time. It was a good time. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. Anyway, how are you guys doing? What's going on, Dylan? What's going on, Tom Dasher? Brandon? What's going on, Champasta? Morning, TJ. Great day, Sarah. Amid gave me a compliment, called me a wheeler. Let's go. That is awesome. What's going on, Corey? Appreciate the appreciate the gift card, my man. I'm definitely going to go use it here very, very soon. Anyway, we've already got some people tuning in, 100 people from X, 21 people from YouTube. I think Amit is still on. So once he wraps it up, or unless he's going to go 24/7 over there on CNBC, we'll see what's going on over there. More people will tune in. Anyway, what's going on, Bachata? What's going on, UCA? Kelby, Yankee Doodle. Let's get into it, guys. I don't have a quote of the day. I don't have anything prepared. I wasn't even going to go live. But I went to the bedroom. The wife's still sleeping. So I'm like, well, let me pop on the live. So I thought about doing it last night because the tour's fresh in my head. So I'm like, so I'm not going to write anything down. This is going to be off the cuff. First and foremost, I want to thank Jason and the employees over at Riot. Absolutely awesome, man. We got to the Jewel Hotel in Dallas. Wife and I were staying at the Fairmont. We took a little 1 or 2 minute Uber ride. Went over there. We hopped in the little Sprinter van, took off over there. And it was just my wife and I and Bitcoin Bella. Shout out to Bitcoin Bella, this lady who's a part of the Bitcoin Mafia, the crew, putting all of these things together. And it's just absolutely awesome that this company would send the guy, and to just give us the time of day and take us on that tour, just little investors like my wife and I and Bitcoin Bella, because at the end of the day, we're all shareholders. And really, really awesome that they would literally take their time and show us around. They don't have to do this kind of stuff, man. They don't, because all this stuff is information that we could go find on the internet and stuff. All the videos are there and whatnot. But the fact that they would take time out of their lives to show us around and answer all the questions that I had. I mean, I grilled Jason with questions, bro. Like grilled him and grilled him and grilled him. Him and David, this other gentleman that was there. And he's like the guy that runs the show there in Corsicana. I mean, I'm just like popping off question after question after question after question. It's like we're playing that game like Radio Shack. Remember, like that I've got questions, they got answers type thing. And they were like helping me out as best they could because they could tell that I'm like legitimately interested. I want to know what's going on. I want to know how they make the donuts so that I could keep shoring up my investment thesis essentially with the company. So before we get into all of that, let's check on the portfolio, see what's going on with that. And then whenever I'm going to skip over Riot. And at the very end, I'll go through the entire position of Riot, what exactly it is that we're trying to accomplish with that position. And then I'll give you guys the rundown of the tour as best as I can remember. So anyway, there it is right there. So the portfolio is bleeding out, and now looks like we're approaching break even again for the day. So that part's good. State of the Union for the last week. It's been a pretty good week, up $250,000 for the last month. Can't complain at 1.5 for the last 3 months, up a cool almost $3 million. Year to date, up a cool 3.9 for the 1 year. We are up at 4.398, and all time in the portfolio, we've got about a 72% return in about 3 years. So not bad. 4.5. I'll take it. I'll take it. So there's that. What I want to do is focus on the positions that are expiring here in the next few weeks by the end of the year. So we've got the NEO covered calls, Pfizer covered calls. These are new. I got some swing trades going with NEO and Pfizer. We'll talk about those in a little bit. And we got the Palantir covered calls at 65. And then we've got some cash secure puts on Celsius at 25 that are doing okay. We've got cash secure puts on Hood that are doing very well at 30. We've got some cash secure puts that we're babysitting at 24 bucks, 12.13 on Intel. Then we've got cover calls that we're babysitting on PayPal, 90 bucks for 12.20. And then here comes Riot. We're going to skip over these right now. Then we got some Intel cover calls at 28. And then we got cash secure puts on SOXL at 27. So you guys can see that it's not too bad. Now the actual positions themselves, we've got them set to equity, total equity. Yeah, your equity. So it's SoFi at 2.28, Riot is at 1.52, Tesla's at 1.36, Amazon's at 1 million, 1.09. So we've got 4 1 million plus positions, and then we've got some other larger positions as well. We've got PayPal at 849, Intel at 485, Hood at 358, Palantir at 250, and then these are the swing trades on the bottom. Pfizer 124,000, NEO 119,000. So I want to start there. So I saw an opportunity to buy some shares of Pfizer, sell some short-dated covered calls, bring some money through the door, hopefully have these shares called away and make a few $1,000s and call life good. So we bought the shares at $24.79. We're up a little bit on the shares, as you guys can see there. And then I put the shares for sale at $25.50 for $11.29, and that paid $1,100 bucks. You guys can see it right here. So you guys can see the whole thing right there. And I was messing around with Pfizer in the $27 range. So I was like, well, if I liked it over there, I'm surely going to love it at these levels. So that was the justification there. I know Robert Kennedy, blah, 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 all that shit, whatever. There was an opportunity for me to make money here, and I took it because I'm in the business of making money. So there's that. The other one that I took a swing on was NEO. It dipped to like 450 and some change, and I was like, I can make money here. So I bought 25,000 shares at 454. You guys can see up already 58.06 on the shares. I put all of those shares for sale at $5 for 11.29. So a real quick swing trade, probably getting my ass kicked on these covered calls, and that's okay. I am totally okay having these shares called away and picked up $4,000 for that. So I made $4,000 there, got $1,100 on Pfizer. I'm going to get about 46 cents in capital appreciation in 10 days on NEO. We'll get some capital appreciation, hopefully, on Pfizer. If those don't get called away by 11.29, I'm just going to keep doing this over and over and over again. If NEO is at like the $5.05 range, I may consider a roll and try to grab another 50 cents in capital appreciation because it's a lot of money. 50 cents on 25,000 shares, talking about 12,500 bucks. Not bad, right? But I am okay letting these shares go and just locking in the win. If it all works out picture perfect, make about $25,000 in 10 days, utilizing $250,000 in capital. I'll take it. I want to get back into cash. So that's what's going on with those two positions. Now let's talk about the position of the day. SoFi, my goodness. So SoFi is officially at a 52-week high. I haven't been wanting to sell more covered calls because I want to see how the whole convertible thing plays out, because there's like, is that 1424, 1474? There's like a lot of stuff that I don't really understand. So I was going to reach out to the SoFi Weekly guys. Maybe they can shed a little color. I may send a text over to Crossroads Roy as well. See if they can help me out. I'm looking in the background. Bitcoin just passed 97,000 bucks, guys. So pretty awesome over there as well. So got these 150,000 shares at 7.25 up a cool 1.2 mil. That part's good. So now we've got covered calls that we're babysitting at 15 for March, at 15 for January of 2026. So those are problematic, but positive problems, but problems nonetheless. But then we've got all of the leaps that are protecting us. We've got $7 calls, $5 calls, $10 calls, and $15 calls. And you guys can see it's 200 of them for January of 2026, 200 of them for January 2026 at 7 and 5. And then we've got the lottery leaps, well, they were at the time, now not so much. They're more like reality leaps. We've got 500 of them at 10, and we've got 500 of them at 15. And let's get this one. This is the biggest gainer in the portfolio. Up a cool 390% or 281,000. I had gotten out of 500 of those contracts and got 360. So imagine if I'd have held on to those, I could have gotten $708. It is what it is, though. That's crystal ball syndrome right there. I can't beat myself up for that. I just didn't know. I suspected, but I didn't know, so I had to play it smart. Then we got the Tesla situation. We got 4,000 shares of Tesla that were doing really well, but we're babysitting covered calls for the next 3 to 5 years. At 280 for January 2026. I'll keep kicking this can down the road for the next 3 to 5 years. It's Tesla. It's whatever. I don't want to sell those shares for less than $500, if ever. So there's that. Amazon. This is the Amazon glorified savings account. I've got 5,500 shares here that are doing okay. Nothing great, nothing really to write home about. This is a place to hide money, essentially. And I've got all the shares for sale at $200 for February of 2025. Feel really good about them. I'm hoping to be in this trade for the next 2 or 3 or 4 years, if not longer. So there's that. PayPal. This has been one of the better trades I've ever made, has not caused very much stress. So there's 10,000 shares at 58.50. There's 4 open strategies. I've got the shares for sale at $90, 25 of them, 2,500 of them. And then we've got the bulk of the position for sale at $80 for June. So we're already underwater on those cover calls, and it's okay because we've got 100 leaps over here that we're going to exercise probably September, October, November of this coming year. So we'll end up at 20,000 shares of PayPal. And then we've also got 25 more leaps here. More than likely, I'm just going to flip these contracts. I don't see me taking ownership of 2,500 more shares at $75. PayPal's been a moneymaker, guys. PayPal's been a moneymaker, very, very steady. Slow and steady wins the race. What else do we got going on here? Intel, this is the only loser in the portfolio, essentially. But we do have all of these shares for sale at $28. We've got them at $27.42. So getting our asses handed to us on the shares. But then we've got cash and carry puts at $24 that are starting to do pretty good. And then we've got all the shares for sale at $28. So I think Intel's going to turn around. We'll see, but I'd like to get rid of all those shares at $30 and just kind of play it via cash and carry puts so that I can have a bigger cash position. So that's what's going on. Hood, another one here. We've got I think it's 10,000 shares. Yeah, 10,000 shares at $21. So those shares are performing well. 4 open strategies, 150,000 in cash and carry put collateral, 5,000 shares are for sale. So we've got 50 cash carry puts at 30. We've got 50 cover calls at 32 for January. 50 cover calls at 29 for February. So these are a little bit of a pain in the ass, but this is the saving grace. The leaps, bought 50 leaps at $30. Those are printing up a cool $46,500 on those. So that's going to essentially minimize, if not even eliminate, all of the covered call problems that we're dealing with. And I want to get in a situation where I can just get back into cash, because that's probably $500,000 or so that we could free up when it's all said and done, because I think cash is going to be a real good place to be here in the next 6 months. So there's that. Last position we'll feature is Palantir. We've got 4,000 shares of Palantir at $33.32. So that part's pretty decent. Then we got the shares for sale at $65. And then we got more shares for sale at $45 for January of 2026. And then these are the 50 leaps that I bought recently. Let's check on those. I think those are actually doing okay. Yeah, surprisingly up 11,300 on those leaves. That's crazy. I did not expect that to happen. I'm pleasantly surprised. Sometimes it's fun to be wrong. So that is what's going on. Now I'm just going to leave it right here for Riot, and I'm going to talk to you guys for a little bit. I'm going to catch up with you guys. I'm going to walk y'all through this entire position and what we're hoping to accomplish. So there's 125,000 shares, average cost of 817. I averaged up on this yesterday, bought 15,000 shares, and I sold a shitload of cash secured puts. You guys haven't even seen any of that stuff yet. So let me check in with you guys and we'll go from there. So let me see here. So we did these right here. Where did we end up? What's going on, Yankee Doodle? Mr. G, what's going on? Dougie Dallas. Did you end up breaking 11? Looks like it. No, we got close. I think like 10-9 was the closest it got last night. I'm missing your daily streams, guy. Hope you're enjoying the time off camera. I am enjoying the time off camera, but I gotta stay more involved. I want to grow the channel to 10,000 subscribers and then chill out a little bit, 2 to 3 times a week. But the wife, I think, is getting cool with everything because she really enjoyed the tour. She really, really enjoyed the tour. She thinks that Jason's is absolutely sweet, nice stand-up guy. She loved this lady, Alexis. And there was another lady, I can't pronounce her name, but she's from Iran. Super, super cool lady. And then Bitcoin Bella is just an absolute sweetheart. So my wife had a real good time. And we'll talk about that here in a little bit when we get into the tour. Megan, what's going on? Bryson, what do you think about option trading? It's pretty good. What did you learn during the tour? I'm going to talk about that here in just a second. We're going to get to it. Kaki, don't put any pressure on me. This is my channel at the end of the day. Mara is convertible notes and now booming. Ryan getting smoked. Hope you got good news. Yeah, everybody keeps talking about that stuff. I don't really understand it yet. I actually talked to Jason about it. And it's definitely something that's getting tossed around by the brass tacks. So we'll see what happens. So anyway, so here is the thing. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to build this position to 250,000 shares. So we're halfway there. So there's a lot of work to do here, guys. And I'm really hoping that Riot stays at these levels a little bit longer to give me a chance to make more money via cash secured puts, because this is my wheelhouse. I sell puts, I sell calls, I collect premium, I roll when it makes dollars and cents. And until my position is full, the way that it kind of is on SoFi, not kind of the way that it really is on SoFi, I don't really cheer for these stocks to go to the moon right now because I don't have it set up appropriately yet. So I'm trying to accumulate still 250,000 more shares. And I also need to buy at least 500 calls. The problem with buying calls on a freaking stock like this, where the IV is very, very high, is those calls are very expensive. That's why I'm more comfortable selling calls. So right here, as you guys can see, I have 400 cash secure puts at 11, 400 cash secure puts at 9, and 500 cash secure puts at 10 for 12.20. So I just recently sold these yesterday and today, and you guys can see they're collected 20,000 and 29,000 for tying up $440,000 in collateral, I believe. If you look at the entire position, there's 1.3 million in cash secured put collateral. All the shares are for sale at $20 for January of 2026. So essentially, I need to figure out how to get 140,000 shares that are not for sale. Right now, I've got 15,000 because the 15,000 shares that I bought yesterday, you'll see them right here. They're not for sale. So bought 5,000 of them at 12.13, bought another 10,000 at 12.27. So the rest of the shares that I buy are not going to be for sale so that I can, run these up. I think that Riot will eventually get to like 30, 40, 50 bucks. And I want to reserve the right to be able to sell those shares and I'm going to trim the big position from 110,000 shares. I'm going to trim it. I'm going to trim it to 100,000, and that's going to be my long-term holding on Riot. So these 100,000 shares, these 1,100 contracts will be reduced to 1,000, and I'm going to be long and strong till the next Bitcoin cycle. So I'm going to look to hold on to these shares to like 2028, 2029. And then these here, I'm going to kind of like treat them as a swing, if you will. And then I'm just going to keep making money and like tying up that kind of collateral, about 1.3 million, 1.5 million. And I'm going to do it over and over and over again as long as Riot stays under $15. Once it gets over $15, I might not be comfortable doing that anymore. So I'll have to move on to another ticker. But that's why I'm kind of hoping that Riot can somehow still go sideways, because I think the market is extremely euphoric right now with Marathon. It's extremely euphoric with MicroStrategy. There's some people that claim to understand how all that works. I don't. That is not in my sphere of competence right now. So I'm just staying in my lane. I really have a good grasp of what Riot is trying to do now. So I feel really, really confident in that. So anyway, let's talk about the tour. Let's talk about the tour. Interest free. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's talking about all of that stuff. So anyway, so how was it? We go to the hey, Popo Short. Yeah, I'll say hi to G Money right here. Let's get some likes up there, some thumbs up for G Money. This Cavapoo right here costs as much as a freaking horse. This thing's like $3,500, dude. It's crazy. But anyway, cool dog, man. He's just an absolute pain in the ass. Has a lot of energy. We have an older Maltipoo that just likes to sleep all the time. This guy doesn't. So they really balance each other out. But it turns out that I like to take some snoozers too. You know, I'm approaching 50 years old. And this guy's like keeping me young. Like this dude is really, really keeping me young. And he hangs out in the office with me a lot. Duke sleeps all day with mom. So that's what's going on here. So we take we get on the tour. We get in the Sprinter van. We drive over to Corsicana. The thumbnails. I took a little photo of us, and then everybody starts doing their origin stories. Bitcoin Bella starts giving her origin story of how she like got into Bitcoin and all that stuff. Absolutely beautiful story. I'm sure she can tell it on her own, so I'm not going to regurgitate that stuff. Then it was the lady from Iran with a real cool name that I can't pronounce. She gives her story, and then she works for Riot. And then she essentially said, I can't envision myself working for anybody else. She got the job with Riot from X, from posting something on X saying, hey, like my DMs are open. I really want to work for a Bitcoin miner. Riot was geographically desirable for her. So she ended up getting that job. And then Alexis, fresh out of college. And then she was working for private wealth management or whatever. And then she eventually stumbled upon Riot. And then right away, my wife and I were looking at each other. We're sitting in the back of the van, and we're like, dude, these ladies look like they could have like a Riot tattoo on their bodies. Like, I mean, they were like really drinking the Kool-Aid. And that was really cool to see because I'm real big on corporate culture because I've owned several businesses. So then I told my story of how everything happened with the hedge fund, married the wife, you know, managing the family office money, couple of private investors, etc. Now I've obviously accumulated a decent amount in my personal wealth, which I'm real, excited about as well. And then Jason tells his story about how he was, playing poker full time, and then the Riot opportunity presented itself, and so on and so forth. And it was really, really cool. And I was able to ask them a ton of questions, guys, a ton of questions, not so much in the van, but a ton of questions whenever we got to the actual facilities. They introduced us to a couple of people that worked over there at their facilities in Corsicana. And then this gentleman named David took us on the tour. And it was Jason, the lady from Iran, Alexis was with us as well, and it was my wife and I and Bitcoin Bella. So it was a real small, like intimate tour. So they took us to a couple of the buildings there, And right away, I could see that there's two ways to look at this. One is you have all of this land, you can put up the building as fast as you can and put the miners in there and get them churning and burning and producing Bitcoin. That's one way you could do it. Or the other way that you can do it is you can take your time and build it right. Maybe it won't be as fast initially, but you're learning as you go, and you want to build it right so that you only have to build it one time. And I think that's kind of the route that Riot took. And there was probably because there were some constraints, because there's like so much that goes into building out these facilities. It's absolutely crazy, man. But what I noticed right away is that Riot's philosophy is if we don't have to subcontract it, we're not going to. We're just going to bring all of these employees in house. That way they're at our beck and call, because we're in this thing for the long haul. And it was all about this thing called the Navarro switch, essentially. Like that is their crown jewel at that facility. And I look around and it's like Riot's a construction company. They're like an electrical company. They're an engineering company. They manufacture and fabricate a lot of the things that we see on those videos with these miners. And it is so freaking impressive, dude. They're here to stay for the long haul. That's why Jason's always touting his balance sheet. Like the company's balance sheet is because they need that balance sheet for all of the things that they got cooking in the pipeline. They're in search of more land. So they've got the Rockdale, that's 700 megawatts. They're going to have eventually 1 gigawatt, if not more, in Corsicana. And they're looking at more land as well. So they're just getting started. So I saw it. Like I caught the vision right away, and I could see why they're so damn excited on these videos, while Jason is so damn excited on the earnings call. And they're kind of excited, I think, that the share price is there because where it's at, because it's going to give everybody time in the company to even accumulate. So I asked them some hard questions, dude. And the one was share-based compensation. I was like, dude, if I look at just the income statements, the cash flow statements that went on the balance sheet, the financial instruments that we use to value these companies, it does seem like y'all getting paid a shitload of money via share-based compensation, and the results are kind of lacking. I mean, just calling tit for tat, it's almost offensive as an investor that you feel like these people are making so much money, but they're not really producing the results that we're looking for. So he took time to really explain how it all plays out. It only looks that way, but Riot has to hit certain metrics, and it's all based over a 3-year period. So if Riot doesn't moon, these people, Jason included, they don't make as much money as you think. So we're in this thing together with them. It's very Anthony Noto-esque. It's very SoFi-esque from the standpoint that we all know that if SoFi gets to $45, if you're in the SoFi community, whether it's Uncle Bruce or the SoFi Weekly guys or Tanner's channel, whomever, we all know that Nota's going to grab the bag at $45. It has to hold those levels for 90 to 180 days, whatever it is. So we all know he's going to grab a $300 million bag if that happens. And we're all okay with it as shareholders, because that means that we made money too, because a lot of us are in at $5, $6, $7, $8 a share. So we're all okay with it because SoFi let it be known. And I think that that's where Riot has maybe dropped the ball a little bit, and hopefully they'll fix it going forward. Is I think that they need to let it be known how the share-based compensation plan works, because my wife and I left that meeting feeling like, hey, we're in this fucking thing with Jason and Ben, because they're the two biggest shareholders of the company. And it was like, if they get paid, we're going to get paid. We're positioned for that too. And I like whenever those things align. I like that they're not just going to hop on any HPC AI deal as well. It's got to make dollars and cents for them. because for them to pivot their entire organization, they need to make sure that they have like legitimate cash flow for the next 7 to 10 years. So that is something that we're able to talk about at length. I mean, we spent a couple of hours with these guys, and it was just us. It was just my wife and I, Bitcoin Bella. Everybody else worked for Riot. So they were able to just like really walk us through everything that they got going on. And they do have huge aspirations. They want to get to 100 exahash, right? This is the little thing here. It's on my desk. So they want to get to 100 exahash. That's the thing. That's the thing. And Jason's like, it's just a cool number. It's a cool number. He doesn't think it could happen next year, though. Realistically, it would probably be 2026, 2027 for sure. It's kind of my take on when that would happen. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to stop there either. So here's my takeaways. They had Rockdale because they inherited either via mergers or whatever with this company called Windstone and others. So they had this Rockdale facility that's blowing and going at 700 megawatts. But there's some inefficiencies there that they've been working through because they didn't build that one from the ground up on day one. They weren't day one with that one. That was already there because of Windstone, and then Riot came into the picture. And I don't exactly know that origin story. We can all find it. We're going to start a Riot weekly or bi-weekly. I'm hoping to use Tevis because Tevis really knows how to dig into these companies. So we're going to piece together this movie with Riot. We're gonna go from the very beginning and how even like Jason became the CEO and stuff. It was one of his poker buddies named John that got him that gig, essentially. So we're going to get into this whole thing because I'm very interested in the space, and Riot's my horse because they're in our backyard, if you will. It's a 1-hour plane ride, and I like that I can go touch and feel, etc. And they welcome you like it's open arms. It's like a family. So the one thing that I want to say that left me really, really impressed is there was probably, I don't know, 80 to 100 employees there. They did this employee center that they did a ribbon cutting on. And those employees are like genuinely happy to work there. So Riot has created a corporate culture that very few companies ever have the opportunity to do. Like they're not able to make that come to fruition. Like the people genuinely love working there because they're looking at a much bigger picture. They're looking at a much, much bigger picture. And the reason that Riot is so easy for me is because I've already made a couple $1 million on the company. So I'll get to these comments in a little bit, like all this opportunity cost and all the bullshit that we're all going to hear about. I've already made a couple $1 million. I already own all these shares for under $3 a share after adjusted cost basis and all that stuff. And I'm an investor. I'm not just a trader. So I see something that I could be a part of as an investor for the next 3, 5, 10 years and beyond. I have an opportunity to really get to learn everything that I want about the company because they're willing to disseminate the information over to us. So it makes me feel comfortable. It's almost like I feel like I'm indirectly part of the team, if that makes sense. And that's what I was looking for. I don't feel like I would ever be able to do that with Clean Spark. I wasn't interested in doing it with Marathon because I heard some things when Fred Thiel was doing some interviews on different channels, and I just wasn't aligned with that. So I was thankful because I made a shitload of money on Marathon. There's still more money to be made there. So just because I'm not heavily invested in another Bitcoin miner doesn't think that I think they suck. I mean, I made $261,000 on Clean Spark, never owned a fucking share. I love me some Clean Spark. It's awesome. Tit for tat, being objective. Right now, I think that they're superior to Riot. I think that Riot is definitely going to catch them here in the next 5 years. I think Riot's going to be the one at the top, and I don't even think it's going to be close. But that's what makes a market. Some people are going to think that the right play is MicroStrategy, and obviously you've been right. It's at 3,800%, 3,700%, whatever it is. Marathon's crushing it right now. So y'all might end up being right, but the thing is, it's like a horse race. There's win there's place, and there's show. They can all make money. They can all make money. Like you can pick the better horse, but if I have more money in the horse that comes in second and third, I could theoretically make more money than you. So it just really depends on how you play it and how you jockey your horse. So the reason that I chose Riot is because I started learning more about them, and I was like, I'm the jockey. They're the horse. I think that I can jockey that horse. I think that I can learn how to ride that horse. And now that they've pieced together the biggest missing piece for me, and the puzzle was understanding the share-based compensation, because that was the part that really annoyed the living fuck out of me. I was like, why are these fucking guys getting so much money and the company's still losing money? But now that I understand that we're all in this thing together, they need Riot to go up and to the right as well. I was like, sign me the fuck up. I want more shares. It makes sense to me now. It makes sense to me now. Now I really understand why they had to be diluting, shore up the balance sheet and all of those things, because we're still real early. I played baseball. So I feel like Riot's probably in the second or third inning. Like it's early in the game for them still. Like they're playing a very long-term game. They are 100% a Bitcoin mining company. They will entertain other offers for the HPC AI because that's like the hot narrative right now. But it's got to be the absolute right situation, guys. It has to be the right situation, or they're not going to do it, because they know that they have a real big moat with their infrastructure. Like there's other Bitcoin mining companies that would love to have everything that Riot has created in Rockdale and Corsicana, all the deals with ERCOT, all the hedges that they have on their electricity that go all the way to 2030 in some cases. But those deals, they're not there to be had anymore, or they're going to cost a lot more money. But luckily in Texas, the electricity rates are very reasonable, so it makes it kind of nice for Riot. So what I want to do is I want to open up the panel for questions. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to put this up. And if you'd have any questions or whatever, I can do my best to answer them. I can do my best impersonation of Jason Les, and I'll answer the questions for you. And in the meantime, I'm going to try to catch up with some of these comments. Hey, what's going on, Maria? I'm going to do my best to get you a new copy of the Delio today. Yeah, awesome. Appreciate you, G Money. Yeah, man, he got a haircut here a week ago or so. What do you call eyebrows? I'm not sure what you call them on dogs, but his eyebrow area, they always look real bushy. It's kind of funny. How does the family office work? Minimum capital to be worthwhile, man. It just depends on the state that you live. So I feel like that's outside of my scope to actually be able to talk about. Excuse me 1 second. Hey, Mark, how are you? Sorry about that. We have some gentlemen that are coming over to remove our back fence. We got a notice from the HOA that our back fence is not in compliance because it's got rust, and we don't want to paint it because it's too rusted out. So we're going to remove it and we're going to replace it. So the wife's excited because she gets to build a fence. George, how are you?
Hey, hello. Can you
Nice
hear
to see
me?
you, George. Nice to see you again. How's everything going?
Very well. I'm not sure how to do this. Trying to turn off the other channel. Good to
Mm,
see you. And I'm watching obviously your tour on Riot. I don't know anything about crypto, but
mhm.
I know a little bit engineering, and it's really interesting. So I'm trying to establish a very small position just to
Mm.
follow.
Yeah, for sure. So we went on the tour with Riot yesterday, man, and it was really really informative. Really informative. So we were super excited about it. I was already bullish on the company. You know, I was already bullish on the company, but it definitely did reinforce some things for me. And also, like I said, like I was kind of unsure about how all the share based compensation works. So that was kind of like a little bit of a not necessarily a red flag, George, but like a caution flag for me. You know,
I
like
understand. Understand.
I like to get that question answered, but at the same time, I was raised to not count other people's money, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
So it's like, hey, worry about the money in your pockets. Don't be worried about other people. But since it's a publicly traded company, this information is public information. I just haven't been able to piece it together. So whenever they pieced it all together, and I feel like, hey, we're in this thing together. We're not just like little ATM machines for these people, so they can just dilute and line their pockets, if you will. It made me feel a lot better about the company. It made me feel a lot better about being invested in the company because I want to learn not just about them, but about Bitcoin in general. Because I'm very bullish on the space, but my knowledge is also very low on this space from a technical perspective. I know how to make a
Mm.
lot of money in this space, though. So I feel like I have what they want, but a lot of these nerdy geeky people have what I want, right? Is the knowledge. And they're like, fuck the knowledge, I want the bankroll. so so
It- yeah.
it's one of those.
Well, I understand you live in Texas, don't you, TJ?
I'm sorry.
You live in Texas, right?
Yes, sir. We live in the Rio Grande Valley.
Well, I'm in Toronto, but I have family in Austin, Texas. I've never been to Texas, so I may find an opportunity to go to Texas sometime.
Oh man, I'd love to. I don't know if you golf or not, but
No, I don't. I don't.
yeah, I'm not a good golfer, but anybody ever wants to come golf over here, man, around's on me. We live on the golf course. My father-in-law owns the golf course, so I can get us on.
Well,
Like,
I may not golf,
I'm
but I may
as
be able to.
legit of a connection as you're ever going to have on a golf course.
Sure. How far are you from Austin?
Austin, by car, we're about 4.5 hours.
Well, it's not
Uh,
that far, four and a half
it's
hours.
about a 45-minute plane ride.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we would fly to Austin. We're not going to drive over there, so we'll fly to Austin
Well, I would definitely like to stay in touch with you.
for
And,
sure.
because by the way, I think I mentioned it before, and now I'm actually a relatively new investor trader. I started only in September of 2022. Yeah. Combination of good luck and good fortune. I have a very small portfolio, but I'm up almost 80% year to date.
Wow, good for you. And what have been the stocks that have helped you out this year? Have you been
Well,
in
yeah, okay, I'll tell you.
price
Yeah,
or what have
sure.
you done?
I actually bought Palantir, SoFi, and Rocket Lab before I discovered you and Amit and
Wow.
Vince actually. But then I've been following them, and so those are my major holdings right now.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, you've done very well then.
Well, I think it's beginner's luck as much as anything else right now because just got in at the start of the bull run, right?
Yeah.
My goal right now, see if I could maintain it for the rest of the run. That I don't think 80% is about with S&P going at 25%. I don't think it's really sustainable. You
Yeah.
know, I think it's more realistic to think about that, what, 10-15% above the S&P 500, which is your goal. I see that, right? I
Yeah,
think
My
long term
goal
that's
is
more
always
sustainable.
yeah, my goal is always 25% a year in captured premiums, because then if the stocks, like let's say they go down a little bit, well, I'm at least still matching the market, if not beating it slightly. But then if the stocks go up and I'm a beneficiary of that as well, I can have some years that are like 30, 40%. But if I'm still able to bring in my 25% with premiums and the market has a real shitty year, kind of like in 2022, I can still look up and I'm like basically break even or only slightly down for a year.
Yeah,
So
I really understand your
markets,
strategy, actually, TJ.
bear
That's
market
why I like
audits,
to.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're not as they're not as painful for me as people think, because I'm willing to sell cash secured puts on the volatile stuff during the bear market. And then I do have a knack for getting rid of some shares and getting heavier into cash, because
Hmm.
the bear market and having a lot of cash, that's like a winning combination. You know what
Correct.
I
Correct.
mean?
Yeah.
So I
Well,
think,
because I have a fairly small
yeah,
portfolio, what are your thoughts? Some stocks I just can't call cash secured puts. So I'm looking to credit spreads, actually, to see whether I could do that. And what are your thoughts there? I notice you don't do too much credit spreads. Yeah, but because you have the capital, right?
yeah,
So, for example, right now I just recently bought some Nvidia. You
okay,
know, yeah, I just bought some, and then I just bought some leaps, you know, to see if I could establish a per month covered call arrangement later on.
right.
Yeah.
And then that was on Nvidia, or which one did you do that one on?
Nvidia.
Okay, yeah.
Nvidia.
I recently sold puts on Nvidia too, and made a little bit of money. I currently don't have a position in Nvidia, but it is definitely it's one of those stocks that I could have been a part of. I had so many opportunities to be a big part of Nvidia, but I didn't have the interest in learning how amazing of a company Nvidia was. Like there's it's like, why Riot, right? Like people keep asking me like, why Riot? It's such a small company, relatively speaking, in the larger scheme of things, and that's absolutely true. But I just happen to be interested. It's like you like a certain type of woman or a man or whatever you're into, George, right?
Yeah.
Like there's a certain type of person that fits your eye, and Riot is at that stage that really excites me, because I like to be in kind of early with companies, and I'm willing to go through the rough rides, if you will, if I can catch on to a vision. Like I latched on to a vision early, and this is from watching videos and reading articles. This isn't. Now I've had the privilege of meeting Jason face to face a couple of times. The CEO of the company, so it obviously helps out with your conviction a lot easier when you have access to the guy that's steering the boat. But I wasn't interested in an Nvidia, man, and it bothers me that I wasn't.
Well, it's
But
only recently that I was able to scrape up some cash to buy 100 shares. Actually, I have only one contract. It's about
uh,
$15,000. That's a big percentage of my portfolio. Probably the reason why I've been following you is that, of course, I've been quite a bit of reading, looking right now, because I really like your practical, down to earth style of investing. You know,
yeah,
you never promise things that lots of these things right now, they're mostly just doing saying a lot without really doing much. And I really like the style you have. Just tell you a
yeah.
little bit about myself. I actually have a PhD in electrical engineering.
Oh wow, look at
Yeah.
you.
So, but then I listened to Peter Lynch and Warren Buffett, and realized right now that to be a successful investor and trader, you have to have two organs, the brain and stomach.
Yeah, agreed.
And then
Agreed.
I found that I have a weak stomach. So what I've been doing the last couple of years, actually training my stomach to be stronger. I'm not too worried about my brain. It's my stomach that I worry about.
Yeah, that helps me and I say it a lot, but I don't think that people really listen to when I say certain things. Is playing poker has really helped me in the investing world.
I'll tell you what happened. I took your advice when I heard you say that. I never played poker. In fact, I don't play too many card games. I play chess a little bit.
Yeah,
So I decided to subscribe to Texas Hold'em, a free poker game, only about what 8 weeks ago. So it's free, hey. So I've started playing that. I start with the beginners. I don't know how they rank it, but I got the struck a record, made over 2,500. You start with a hand of 1,000 and end up with 2,500. So I went up to the next level. And also last night, I broke 3,000, another record. So
yeah,
I'm now trying to the next level up.
that is
So I'm
super.
just learning to do that actually. And I
Yeah,
find it fascinating with poker because when I start to analyze a game, it's very similar to trading. Very
yeah,
similar. you know you have to calculate odds, and everything. So hopefully I'll be learning more and learning from you guys and the people uh, at your website.
yeah. I appreciate you. Let's welcome Dylan Rogers. How are you, Dylan?
TJ, hey, George, how's everybody? Thank you so much.
Very well, Dylan. Yeah.
TJ, thank you so much. How's your day? Doing well?
All good, man.
Oh,
We're just a little tired from we had a delay at the airport because they had overfueled the plane.
oh, really?
So it took like an hour to
My
for
God.
I guess to legally be able to take off. They offered $2,500 vouchers if people were willing to get off the plane.
Did, did you voucher?
Dude, I was like
Yeah.
ready. My wife was giving me the elbow. She was like, "The hell with five? Because it's two of us, right?" I'm like, "Baby, 5,000. You know how much you can fly on Southwest for $5,000?" I'm frugal, and my wife's like, "I don't give a damn about $5,000. I want to go home."
And I got you, TJ.
I was like, "Damn."
You know, and maybe I can selfishly say that into kind of my question and anxious stock issue for the day. So for me, my forward-looking play is Archer. So and thank you for you because I've been able to, with my conviction, try to formulate an option strategy within.
Sure.
So right now it's very small, like one contract at a time. I'm definitely baby towing this thing in. So I had some in the money, and this isn't bragging. This is just to learn. So I had a very small in the money contract on Archer. It was up 125% today.
Mhm.
So I was looking to roll it. It was at a $5 strike for 417. I was looking to maybe roll it to a $9 on 417. I might have pushed it out maybe another month after that. I was looking at kind of what that contract price on it was. So I've never had a roll opportunity, or just really I've never been in a position where now I've had that roll thought coming to my head. So I was looking at it
So,
and
so real quick,
yeah,
back up just a little bit. So
okay.
do you own 100 shares of Archer? Or did you just buy a call? Did you sell puts? Where are you at with Archer?
Me myself, I own 500 shares and then that was one contract, if I understand it correctly, for it was a buy call, buy call, if I'm saying that correctly.
Did you buy a call? So then that means you bought a long call.
Um,
Whenever you sell a cover call, that's selling a call.
okay, so yeah, it was the buy and the call. Yeah, so it was a
Okay,
buy.
so essentially what you did is you bought the right
Uh-huh.
to own however many, if you did one contract, you bought the right to buy 100 shares of Archer at whatever your strike price is.
Okay, if that was to reach expiration and let's say Archer was over that, then that's
Yeah,
something.
so in order to make money, you
Uh-huh.
have to be above your strike price, and you also have to be above the premium that you paid for that option. So let's say you paid $1 for that option. Let's say your strike price was at $5. So then now for you to actually make any money to have an intrinsic value at the end,
Mm-hmm.
Archer would have to not only be above the strike price, but it would have to be above the premium that you paid for that option. So that's your break even.
So I was looking a little. So I was doing kind of that simulate returns thing on it, and it was looking. The break even price was going to be like 620
Right.
ETE. So basically, I could either cash out today, but I really want to get to the roll as well. But basically cash out or wait until that time. And if that price continued, it kind of would have been same bird in the hand. So I was like, maybe we'll just take it today. But I was looking at the $9 strikes.
So real quick.
Yeah. Go for it.
You paid money for the right to buy shares of that stock, Archer, at a certain price before a certain day. That's your expiration date. You have no reason to go from a winning situation
Okay.
to a losing situation potentially because you're winning this trade. So all you already paid for all this time on the clock.
Okay.
You paid premium. So all you have to do is let it play out. If Archer goes to 10, you still have the right to buy it at 5 if that's your strike price. So you don't want to keep pushing the envelope whenever you're winning a trade because that's turn winners into losers, and that's the cardinal sin. You don't want to do that.
Fair.
And you can also, let's say you don't want or you don't have the money.
Sure.
Those 100 shares, that would be $500, right? In that scenario.
500 at. Well, I guess on the contract price, it's not at the share price. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Wow, so, probably shouldn't have let that go. Okay, I'm with you. Okay, you're learning. You're with you.
Follow me. So you bought the right to own those shares at that price. You locked in that price because you paid a premium for that.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say Riot goes or Archer goes to $10. Your break even is $6.20. So you're making $7.20, $8.20, $9.20, $3.80, and an intrinsic value. You exercise that option. You own them at 5 plus the 120. So you own them at $6.20. They're trading at 10. So you have a built-in $380 profit there.
Okay, and so what I think my beginner brain is hearing is,
Mama, here, baby, I'm gonna send him with you. He's tired of being on YouTube. He says I'm boring. He doesn't give a shit about Riot. He's Team Mara.
Mara. So I think what I'm hearing is, again, being in the money, even with conviction, maybe you consider it more of like a lottery leap. Me trying to just say let's lock. And sorry, my screen's gonna go off. But I just wanted to.
I think we lost him. In the meantime,
TJ, I'm a newbie like Dylan, actually. In fact, I went through that kind of thinking about a year ago. Hey, Dylan, I'm a newbie like you. I started trading options only about 2 years ago.
Sure.
Yeah, and then I went through this exercise. And what TJ, I wish I had TJ to coach me when I started. It would have shortened my learning curve dramatically, but it didn't, And based on my experience right now, I would say, do you have a trading that you could trade in paper trade first before doing any real trade? Can you do that?
I guess I don't understand enough to know what a paper trade would be then.
Well, your paper trade is like playing a game. It's not real money. So like certain platforms, and TJ probably, I'm not sure, can Robinhood, I'm in Canada, so I don't have access to Robinhood. Can you paper trade on Robinhood, TJ?
No. I don't think.
No, because if you have an account that you can paper trade, I would encourage you to do that first. You won't be losing money. Actually, you train yourself.
You can do paper trading on Webull, I think, but you cannot do paper trading on Robinhood. Maybe you can on Legend. I have no idea. I don't know if you can on Legend or not.
See, for example, I have IBKR. I could trade paper trade IBKR, but IBKR is very complicated, platform for a beginner. Actually, I find. But if you could, I would encourage that. The analogy is very simple. Before you drive a real car, you drive a simulation, or before you fly an airplane, you play a simulation plane first, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Um,
it's so easy to lose money. Yeah, in
that,
trading options, hey, TJ, so easy to make mistakes and lose money. I had my share of losing money.
and Mr. TJ, for the question, so on the long call roll, because I was trying to figure out how the account would balance out. If that call was in the money, and let's just use easy numbers. Let's say that contract was worth $100 today, and the contract I wanted to roll would have been $50. So is this where you're talking about like collecting premiums along the way as you're going? Like, I think that's what I was, because I was trying to, because then when I was to the roll contract and finally hit the do it button, it seemed like to me, and because I'm new, it seemed like it wanted to take it from the brokerage, but it was showing me that, the contract was more valuable, the one I had, than the one I wanted to roll. So it seemed like it should have net profited my brokerage.
Yeah, but when you're rolling a long call, it's a lot different than rolling a short call
Okay.
because you're paying premium when you buy, and you're collecting premium when you sell. So I'm gonna do on the next Wheelers, we're gonna talk about the differences between buying calls and selling calls, so that you can so I definitely tune into that. But real quickly, let's welcome Albert Jones to the channel.
Hey TG, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you, sir?
I'm real good. I guess my question was I printed it in the chat, but you might not.
You're AJ. You're AJ in the chat, correct?
AJJ 53. Yeah.
See you right
Basically,
there. Mm-hmm.
you
A lot
know,
of miners that don't do what master MicroStrategy and now Mara are doing, selling off. That's a real good question. I have some thoughts, but I don't know that these are accurate, and I wouldn't even call them high level thoughts because I haven't really thought about it too much. So off the cuff, I think what happens is MicroStrategy has essentially created a niche where they're going to be diluting shareholders. They're able to somehow borrow at a 0% interest. They use those monies, I guess convertible bonds or whatever they're called technically, and they buy Bitcoin at open prices. So their Bitcoin hodl is growing and growing and growing. And somehow it feels like the shareholder may or may not actually be getting diluted at the end. I'm unsure. So whenever I'm unsure, I simply stay away. But Michael Saylor has sold this concept to a lot of investors, and they believe everything that he's saying. And he may be saying the truth. I just don't fully understand it. And it's in another NVIDIA situation to where I don't want to take the time to understand it. And I'm okay missing out. You know what I mean? Because I got plenty of money already. It's good.
yes.
I'm okay. So I'm not going to go play in a space that I'm uncomfortable in. Whereas with my little old Riot, I know that it takes them about $35,600 to mine one Bitcoin, because that's what Jason told me yesterday. But also the network difficulty is getting harder now. So now maybe it's going to take them 40 or 50,000 to mine a Bitcoin. But I also know that Bitcoin is trading at like 97,000 right now because I'm looking at it on the screen. So I'm like, I can see how Riot makes money, and Riot's not going into debt. Whether it's good debt or bad debt, at the end of the day, it's still fucking debt. You know what I mean? So Riot has a pretty balance sheet, and I see how long-term they're going to make money. But if there's a situation that makes sense for them to pivot, because Riot has a board of directors, Riot has really smart people that are working there, they're going to do that. I'm pretty sure they're going to do that. I'm not going to speak for Jason. Jason's a grown-ass man. He can speak for himself. One day he'll be on the channel, and he'll tell you for himself, right? But this is what I do know, and I can say with confidence. And I'm sure that if Jason was here, he would reiterate what I'm telling you, because he has said this to my face 3 or 4 times already. He's never going to do anything that puts the company at risk.
What are the top 3 reasons that Riot is better? What's the top 3 reasons that Riot is better than all the other miners that you know of? Why is Riot better than the other miners? Are they gonna? I can see them being a top 3 miner forever, and some of these miners going underwater. That I kind of get, but there's going to be some surviving miners. So I'm looking for what's in your head that makes you believe Riot is better than the other miners, and what are the 1, 2, and 3 reasons that they are?
Awesome. So the first one is their infrastructure. And what I mean by that is they already own the land. They already own the power strategy is already in place with ERCOT. And then they have these little switches or whatever. So they could legitimately get to 1.7 gigawatts. Like that framework is already there. Whereas the growth plan, the infrastructure plan on how to achieve these levels that other miners talk about on their earnings calls, they may not already be in place. So that train has left the station for Riot. They were executing on this plan in 2022 when everybody was hunkering down. So Riot was over there taking dilutive measures, paying $12 million for land in Corsicana when everybody was telling Jason Les that he was fucking crazy. And now everybody's like, oh my God, y'all are going to have the first 1 gigawatt Bitcoin mining facility potentially in the entire world, because there may or may not be one in China. People don't know if it exists because there's rumors that it does. Nobody's seen it. So it's kind of like a unicorn. We all know what it looks like, but nobody's seen it, right? Yeah. So Riot will legitimately have the largest Bitcoin mining facility in the world in Corsicana when it's fully developed. And that's going to happen sometime in 2026, my best guess. I'm sure Jason will address it because he addresses it on every earnings call based on where they're at. But there is a bottleneck right now in the growth plan, not just for Riot, but for all the miners, and there are these things called transformers. There's only so many transformers to go around. But because Riot has such tight relationships, they have procured the stuff that they need to be able to go to the next phases of expansion. So there is going to be a bottleneck at some point with all of these miners. So if they can't get a hold of a lot of stuff, whereas Riot is already housing a lot of stuff in-house, like they're a warehouse facility too. So anytime that there is shit to go grab, they grab it because they have places to store it. So their infrastructure would be a moat. The other thing that would be a moat is their balance sheet and their ability to raise more capital, either via share dilution or taking on very responsible debt at very low interest rates, because they have a pretty substantial Bitcoin hodl as well. You could potentially, they're looking at these things. They're looking at potentially even being able to borrow responsibly against their Bitcoin hodl so that they no longer have to just rely on dilution to raise capital. So they have other ways to raise money. So they have a stout balance sheet and the ability to raise more money if they need to on the drop of a dime. So those are 2 reasons. And then the third reason is because they already have other expansion plans in place, and they have, in my opinion, the best power infrastructure out of all the miners, that they are best positioned for a huge HPC AI play that's going to be very, very attractive if that becomes a thing, because there's only one right now, right? And that's Core Scientific and CoreWeave. That's only one. But Riot is not interested in doing business. And again, this is just me taking words out of Jason's mouth. And this guy, Ben, from when we went to Irvine. They're not interested in doing business with a partner like CoreWeave, because CoreWeave is an up-and-coming company. They would like to do business. If they were to explore the HPC AI thing, it has to be with a more established dance partner, because in order to pivot the entire game plan for Riot, they need to make sure that the person writing the checks, the company writing those checks, like that money comes in in a very stable fashion for the next 7 to 10 years, because you can't just pivot. You can't just pivot out of Bitcoin mining and go do this HPC AI thing and then just pivot back to Bitcoin mining, because you're doing a 180. And so those are the things that I like about Riot the most. Is I love that they already have an infrastructure in place to grow to certain levels. I don't think they quite have the infrastructure in place to get to 100 exahash, but they're aggressively working on that via mergers and acquisitions as well, because they just acquired the other company. The name eludes me right now, but it's out of Kentucky. So I don't know exactly how big that facility can get in Kentucky. So now they have 3. Because one of the big issues with Riot was concentration risk. Like I've said it on the channel. Like the one thing that kind of scares me about Riot is what happens if a big fucking tornado goes through there, right? That's a fair thing. So I was like, let me ask Jason. And Jason looked me in the eye and he says, we got really good fucking insurance. That's what he told me. So I mean, these companies have thought about all this stuff. You know what I mean? Like all of the shit that we think that we're real creative as investors and trying to think about. I mean, that's why these companies have boards of directors. That's why they have CEOs and CFOs and presidents and vice presidents and all this other management. And they sit around and think about all this stuff and try to figure out, okay, if this happens, we're going to do this. If that happens, we're going to do that, right? And it's just they're always playing those what-if scenarios, if you will. But other thing, this isn't a mode. This isn't what they have that's better than other miners. It's just what I've seen. Bro, there's got to be a reason everybody fucking loves working there, dude. Like, have y'all ever been into Dutch Bros? Albert, have you been to a Dutch Bros?
No, I haven't.
Bro, I thought I was at a fucking Dutch Bros yesterday. Everybody, I thought they were going to all pull their pants down and they had like Riot tattoos on their fucking ass. Like, I was like, my God, why are y'all so fucking happy to be here today? Like, it was just crazy, dude. And I don't think that's like a show they did just for me and my wife and Bitcoin Bella. I think these people are like genuinely happy that they're part of something larger than themselves. So this corporate culture that Riot has instilled in their employees, until I'm able to go visit other miners in the future and maybe see that that's just the way that it is for all the miners, I feel like Riot's got something special that they're cooking. But we'll see, because again, this is the only one that I've really, really dug into. You follow me?
Gotcha. Yeah.
So I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, they're fucking definitely doing this better than Riot or than Marathon, because I don't fucking know. What I do know is that I saw about 10 interviews from Fred Thiel, the CEO of Marathon. And I've seen now probably 30 interviews from Jason Less. And before I met Jason, I was like, I fucking like that guy a lot more. It's one of those things. Like, are you in Palantir, Albert?
Yes, yeah.
I've never met Alex, not like Amit has, right? But I've seen a bunch of interviews of Alex Karp, and I was like, I fucking like that guy. I've seen countless interviews of Anthony Noto, and I'm like, I want to rock with that guy. And Jason gave me that vibe. Fred Thiel did not give me that vibe, and that's okay, right? Some people like the Dallas Cowboys, some people fucking hate them. That's the way life is. That's why we have a market.
Yes.
So Jason was a professional poker player. I played poker professionally. I wasn't nearly as good. So his background already appealed to me, if that makes sense.
Sure. It's the culture thing, like Palantir too, right?
TJ, can you hear me?
Of course.
Hi, Albert.
Hi.
One question I want to ask is who is supplying all those transformers? Do you know the company name?
I don't know.
The supplier of, you said right now that transformers may be actually, lack of supply of transformers. Who supplies the transformers to Riot?
Good question.
I don't know. know.
The reason why I ask that right now is that right now I have background in electrical engineering as well.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing to ask right now is that do they have? Are they using all NVIDIA GPUs?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I said, do they use NVIDIA GPUs.
Does Riot use NVIDIA GPUs?
Yes.
No, so this part I kind of know. Again, dude, I'm starting a Bitcoin Weekly, okay, with Tevis from SoFi Weekly.
Oh yeah, I would like to participate.
We're going to dig into all this stuff. So all of these questions, I feel like I don't know the answers to them, but I'm gonna fucking find out, okay?
Yeah,
this is
for
what
sure.
This is what
and another thing right now, as you know, lots of people think about using nuclear energy for their power supply.
Too far in the future.
Yeah, I work in the atomic energy of Canada for many years, so I have some knowledge about nuclear industry.
Okay.
So there's a quote that I'm going to pull up because there's it's from Peter Lynch, because everybody's hung up on share price, and I get it because we're in that business, right? Correlation.
Yeah.
So here's I'm going to see if I can find it. But in the meantime, he basically said that in the short term, there might be a disconnect between the stock and the company in the short term. But in the long term, there's always a correlation.
I agree.
So my thing is let's just, I mean, y'all got to give me a little bit of credit where credit is due. I'm not here to tout my own fucking horn, but we all see the balance. And I'm going to tell you all this is not a fucking accident that it's there, because I kind of know what I'm doing. So that's all I'm going to say about that. But I've already been on this train right here, and I'm still on this train with this company called SoFi. I caught all the same shit that that I'm hearing in the chat right now. I've already lived this fucking nightmare, because it was a nightmare for a while with SoFi, and now look at it right now. That's just the fucking reality of it, okay?
You're right, actually, TJ. It's volunteer.
And it is because I believed in the company, and I thought that the share price would come. But how many times have I not been on this channel? If you've been rocking Moon for a while, Albert, and I know you have, because I've seen AJJ for a while on the chat. And how many times have I said the Bitcoin miners are probably not going to pump as much as y'all think, because they have diluted the living shit out of us? Have I not said that a few times on this channel?
Absolutely.
I'm thinking that that's kind of what's happening. The float is pretty fucking big on some of these. So I don't know. Again, I don't have a crystal ball. And this is on Wheeler's seminar number 2. It's called the crystal ball theory, because we have the shiny object syndrome. You got to cure yourself from that. Well, the other thing that you got to cure yourself, sneak peek on Wheeler's seminar 2 coming at you right now. You got to cure yourself from crystal ball syndrome. I do not know when Riot is going to pump again, but I do know that it will. So all I'm trying to do is position myself for it, because I believe in the company. So I can control my positioning in the stock market, but I don't control pricing or anything of the sort. But I have seen all of the employees, bro. I've looked Jason in the eye, and this fucking dude wants the stock price to go up too. Just like Anthony Noto wants the price to go up too, because they stand to make a fuckload of money. But they don't control that. But what they do control is, hey, we're going to do all the right things. We're not going to put the company at risk. We're not just going to do all these convertible notes and buy a bunch of fucking Bitcoin at 97,000 when I can mine it for 40,000. Because he did tell me that yesterday. He goes, that doesn't really make any sense to us. The unit economics don't make sense there. We got to explore it more. So they're not just going to jump on something because fucking MicroStrategy is doing it, or because Marathon is doing it. Because the one thing that I can confidently say about Riot that really made me want to rock with them hard yesterday is I'm a lot like Riot. I go to the beat of my fucking drum, and I'm running my own fucking race. I don't give a shit about yours. So I think that Riot is running their race. They have a business plan, and they're going to execute it accordingly. That's just what I feel. Like, that's the feeling that I got from meeting with them a couple of times now. And they're like, we have this fucking game plan. We're not rookies in the space anymore. We have the game plan. We went and we built this infrastructure when everybody thought that we were fucking crazy. And now we're looking for more land, and we're going to keep building more and more and more because the communities love when we go in here. We have an awesome culture. People want to fucking work for us. It's easy for us to expand. We just need to find the right situation with the right power situation and the right land, so that geographically it all makes fucking sense in dollars.
Got one more question when you get a chance.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Did Jason mention any of their partners favorably that they work with, like maybe the rack integration, or do they do that in-house? Anything like that?
Yes, because they used to use a lot of subs. And now, if there's any, this is one thing that, again, I can confidently say, and I'm gonna have Jason on the channel. I just told him I'm trying to grow it more. Did I feel like if I send him a fucking email, he'll do it just because he's cool, right?
Yeah.
But Amit's doing me a solid, and we're actually going to do something on Amit's channel very soon because he's got a bigger audience. So that's going to be like on a Saturday, and we'll get Jason on there. And we're going to do a live Q&A and dig into this fucking thing, right? But here's the thing. Riot doesn't want to be beholden to other companies because they have such an amazing infrastructure. If there's something that they can figure out how to build on their own and cut the middleman out of it from the standpoint, because now they have to rely on them to show up to work and shit, they're rather just going to try to figure out how to fabricate it and build it in-house. They don't want to be relying on those third parties. Now, they do have a lot of subs on location building out these things, but it's almost like they're an engineering company, they're a fucking manufacturing company, they're a construction company, and oh, by the way, they do Bitcoin mining, you know, so it takes a lot. It takes a lot to erect one of these buildings because there's so much infrastructure that we didn't even see, like going through the bottom, bro. Like, it reminded me of fucking NASCAR. This is an analogy I want to leave you guys with. Have you ever seen on NASCAR where they pull up to the pit and everybody's like in their position, and the guy's got the fucking jack and the guy's got the hammer, and then the tire comes off in like 10 seconds and it's put back on in like another 10. The other guy's fueling the fucking car, you know, with 5-10 gallons of gas, whatever it is, in the shortest amount of time to get him back on the road. Well, that's kind of what Riot looked like for all the Bitcoin miners. Dude, you see these racks with like 20 miners in them. They have like drains on the bottom. They're able to like go with the forklift and pull shit out, put it in. And it's almost like an episode of NASCAR, dude, where they're like, if this shit goes down, this thing's got a sensor, the lid's gonna fucking come open, let us know this fucking thing's down. There's the dashboard that they're looking at. Hey, miner number 3 in row 46 ain't fucking working. And everybody goes like fucking worker bees. And they get the fucking thing back. It's fucking crazy, yo. Like,
hey, TJ, that's like Rocket Lab when they launch.
Bro, it was fucking crazy. It was crazy. I really thought that it was going to be like a bunch of fucking miners in a building, and they're like, hey, churn and burn and go get some fucking Bitcoin. These things, it looked like my wife's pantry, bro. She's got the most organized pantry in the world. And I was just like, dude, this is crazy. You look, dude, and it's like 2 football fields worth. And these miners are like perfectly aligned. Like they took a plumb line and somebody with major OCD installed those fucking miners. And I was just like, bro, y'all are too much. Like, go mine some fucking Bitcoin already. You know what I mean? It was, you got to see it, bro. Like, I'm going to start promoting these tours. And on the channel, I want to get like Wheel Deal Nation, because I think they want to start doing more of these tours. And I would like to show up with like 20 or 30 people from Wheel Deal Nation, and let's start doing Wheelers meetups over there at Riot so we can all see this thing to really fucking appreciate it, bro. It's impressive.
Hey, TJ, if you get Jason to come on the show, I'm definitely going to ask him about SMCI.
SMCI. I definitely did not ask him about SMCI. That is another one that, dude, what's going on with them? Are they in trouble or are they not in trouble? Because the accounting firm quit, right?
Right.
But
They
then you
hired they hired another one.
I'm sorry?
They hired a new accounting firm, and the stock jumped on that. But I was just wondering about their reputation, if they do rack integration for them, or if they've had them as a subcontractor. So I'm kind of interested in that, you know.
How
I don't
far is their location from your place there, TJ?
I'm sorry?
How far is Riot physically located relative to your place in Austin?
Or no.
So I'm in the Rio Grande Valley. From here, it's probably 8 hours by car. It was about an hour to Dallas on the plane, and then about an hour ride to Corsicana. So it took about 2 hours for us to get there.
Okay, thanks.
So it's definitely it's very affordable for us. I mean, we spent, dude, less than $1,000 between my wife and I. And we stayed at the fucking Fairmont, so we weren't exactly at Motel 6. You know what I mean? So we're able to stay at the Fairmont, a pretty decent room, and we love the Fairmont because it's a very traditional hotel, and it's generally very clean, very well staffed. So that's kind of one of our preferences. So we were able to do that, and then we went over there to the tour, and then came back home, dude, for I want to say 1,000. It was more than that because I forgot we had a stupid dinner at some place called SDK. So maybe 1,300 or 1,400 bucks is all we spent, and now I got all the information that I could ever ask for from Riot. So to me, for that kind of level of due diligence, that it would be very hard for me to scour the internet and find. And then it's one thing to see it on the internet and read articles and watch videos. It's another thing to have an opportunity and sit in front of the CEO and other workers from the corporation, and it just feels a little more real, if that makes sense. It's a lot like how when Amit's gone to AIP Klein and he sees what's going on with fucking Palantir, you can't put a gun to this kid's head and make him sell Palantir because he sees it, he's seen it, and I guess now that I really took a real close look at how meticulous Riot is with their operations. They're playing it's a different game, dude. They're not like, oh, we mined, because Jason said, hey, Marathon just mined 75 Bitcoin in a day. Pretty awesome. And dude, he didn't talk shit about any of the companies, bro. Like, he didn't sit there and be like, hey, this is why we're better than all. He doesn't play that game. He's like, hey, our results will speak for themselves. It's just going to take time. And Rockdale has been a learning experience for them, and they're constantly trying to get better over there. But it's like everything that they do in Corsicana is like such a high level in comparison to Rockdale. So I think that what's going to happen, and I asked them, and he kind of alluded to it, but I was like, is there a world where y'all finish Corsicana and then you see how much more efficient Corsicana is than Rockdale? And you essentially go back and remodel Corsicana, or you can remodel Rockdale to bring it up to snuff. And that's like the equivalent, if not even better, than opening up a brand new facility.
Hey, TJ, Texas is a big hotbed for miners.
Correct.
And I believe Elon built his AI type situation down there in Texas somewhere. And I think Dell and another company did the build out for that down there in Texas somewhere. Have you heard about that?
Yes.
Elon? Yeah.
Yeah, so MicroBT is where they have a contract with MicroBT for a lot of their miners, and they can upgrade the miners as well. There's like a lot going on, We're going to unpack all of this stuff. Appreciate you, Lurker. It's going to be real awesome. To cool their racks, I saw some sort of a liquid in there. They did not want us talking about that. We were not able to show videos of the actual miners themselves in the immersion, because that's intellectual property that Riot owns. So I really don't want to talk about that.
Because I know that's coming. I've read about that.
Yeah, so I did see something, and that shit looked very alien to me. I was like, I don't even know how the computer can work in that environment. I'm not an electrical engineer, George, so I didn't understand. I thought if you got the fucking computer wet, the computer ain't working. You know what I'm saying?
It's an interchange cooler. It doesn't really hit the water.
Bro, this shit is it was, it reminded me a lot like of the oil field, because I worked in the oil field for 7 or 8 years. I'm trying to think how many it was. So it's from 2011 to 15, so that's 4. And then I went back from 17 to 20. So 7 years. 7 years total out of 10 in the oil field. And on the surface, you see a big old rig, you see a big old tower, and there's a freaking drill bit, and it's going down it's turning to the right. Drill, baby, drill. That's what people see and hear, right? But having worked there, there's so many facets to it, dude. Like, you got the mud pumps, you got the tanks, you got the generators, the motors, you got the kumi, the accumulator, the doghouse, you got the pipe, you got the casing crews, you got the people that are going to frack and all this other shit after the fact. So you got the people that go in there and prep the location, that go drill surface holes, a couple 100 feet. And then we go in there, we set up the rig, and then we have to get to the level to where we can actually start penetrating the earth. And then we're going to have to run layers of casing and cement and all of this other shit, bro. It's a process. So when I saw the operation, I looked at it with my oil field eyes, and I'm like, these fucking guys and gals have thought of everything, dude. They have thought about everything, but the only thing that we see as investors is how many fucking Bitcoin did you mine? That's the only metric that we really hang our hat on, myself included. I'm like, fuck. Y'all have all this infrastructure, and y'all only getting me 500 Bitcoin, right? In my mind. But I don't realize that they're working on a much bigger game. They're trying to figure out, is what we're doing getting us to this 100 exahash level? I think that's the game. I think that's my big takeaway is Riot. That's why they don't want to post well, how many Bitcoin did they mine today? Because he feels like investors and everybody else are just going to get stuck on that little metric all the time. And Riot wants to be judged maybe every 3 months, every quarterly, right? Like a report, and be like, hey, this shit takes time because there's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of moving parts, but dude, that land isn't going anywhere. They bought it free and clear. They're working on more land. Like, dude, if they go and acquire another 100, 200 acres and have the ability to do another gigawatt or some shit, I mean, my goodness, dude. This thing, I feel like they're just getting started. And they have the money, and now they have the connections. They got the politics in place. Because, dude, nothing happens without politics in the business world. I don't know if y'all realize that or not. But Riot has amazing politics in Rockdale. They started off rocky in Corsicana. They didn't want them. And now they're loving them in Corsicana, so they can get even a bigger footprint in Corsicana and stay in that area. That way they have the synergy, because they can move shit. They can hotshot stuff from one place to another. They absolutely need it to reduce the downtime of some of these machines. Bro, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. But I'm gonna be doing the Riot Weekly or the Riot Bi-Weekly. I'm gonna ask for help for people that are more technically savvy than I am, people that know how to research more than me, to help me to get the information out there. So if anybody wants to participate, reach out. Y'all got the email right there. You can click the link or whatever. And I want to just start digging into this thing. But the one thing that I'm not going to do on Riot Weekly or bi-weekly or monthly, however we end up doing it, is I just want to learn about them. It's not going to be a shit talking segment on the other miners, but I am going to learn about the other miners along the way, because you got to be able to compare and contrast, right?
Yes, sir.
Hey, TJ,
go ahead, George.
Count me in to learn with you. I'd be more than happy to participate.
Yes, I mean, y'all are more than welcome because we're going to dig in, So I'm going to be reading articles. We're going to be digging in, not just the financials. We got to know how the numbers work, right? We got to know how the numbers work. But I'm a story guy also. So I want to see, okay, like from the time that Jason took over, because he's the CEO now, like let's piece together that story. Because dude, like Riot was going through some shit. Jason told us that they were on the verge of bankruptcy right when he was taking over. Like their lifeline was very, very short, and they finally were able to before they could get ahead, they needed to figure out how to survive, right? Like that's why they call it treading water. One of the first things they teach you when you swim is to tread water. Because before you can figure out how to get from one end of the pool to the other, why don't you figure out how not to sink to the bottom, right? so they needed to figure out how to tread water, keep their head above water, and then they were able to learn how to swim, and now they got a pretty good stroke going to them. So I want to learn how to research companies more in depth. So I'm going to be asking for a lot of help from people, and then I'm going to be learning terminology like terahash and exahash and joules and all this other shit that I've been exposed to, but I don't really understand it completely. Excuse me. Hey, baby, I'm wrapping up YouTube. I'll be done in like 2 minutes. With Turk? Okay, bye-bye.
Hey, TJ.
Somebody's dropping off a turkey. What the fuck?
Say, TJ.
Yeah.
Well, Jensen Huang, you remember Jensen Huang telling his story? He's the best toilet cleaner of all the executives,
Yeah.
And if you look at NVIDIA in the beginning, they really ran into also problems as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, I got to get rocking and rolling. Dude, I look forward to that. I look forward to it. So anyway, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. I need y'all's help. I need y'all to hit like, subscribe. Let's grow the channel. I think once we get to like 7,500, I'm going to reach out to Jason. If I can comfortably feel like we'll have like 200 or 300 of you guys on the stream, I think that I can get him on here for 5 or 10 minutes and answer some of the questions. Maybe shed a little more color on the share-based compensation. Shed a little color on what's going to happen when these miners get antiquated. How does that deal with micro BT work, etc. Shed a little color on the expansion plans, on the mergers and acquisitions, on the bid farm situation, on, hey, why aren't y'all just issuing a bunch of convertible bonds and buying a bunch of fucking Bitcoin, right? Like, I mean, I think he'll answer a handful of questions for us, and he's willing and open to talking to fellow investors. And he knows that my channel's small, but he knows that there's a lot of money on this channel. So we just need to make a little bit of noise, go on Twitter and tag Riot and stuff like that. And I guarantee you, like I'm pretty confident, I can't guarantee it, but we can get him on this channel pretty soon.
I'm a member of your channel, TJ. So how do I get informed about this? Will you let us know?
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. So anyway, guys, if y'all want to do me that solid and follow Riot on X and stuff, and tell him that we'd like him on the channel to answer some questions. And he's super cool fucking dude, man. I cannot emphasize that enough. But he knows his shit. He's fucking nerdy, dude. Like he's nerdy. He's nerdy. He's got a computer science degree from UC Irvine. And this dude, he geeks out. He starts talking a little over my head when he gets into the technical aspects of this shit. That's why I need like my little nerds on my side, like Tevez, to help me out and stuff whenever y'all start nerding out at levels. Talk to me about puts and calls, and now we're in my wheelhouse.
Yeah, so, Tevez will be a good guy.
Yeah, and he's interested. He'll help me out, dude. He's a dear friend. Anyway, I got to run. Albert, I appreciate you, man. Everything that you contribute on the chat. Thanks for coming in, George. I appreciate you. I'm so excited for you on your journey.
When's your next session now for you?
Tomorrow I'm going to go on the Mids channel.
When?
Tomorrow on the Mids channel.
Okay, I'll be able to join then, hey?
Yeah, on the Mids, we have the segment tomorrow where Amit and I go live on his channel. or I do a segment for about an hour on the Myth channel on Fridays. And then I might be able to hit y'all with the live over the weekend, because we didn't do Wheelers this week.
Yes.
So I may be able to do a Wheelers over the weekend, and just, I'll be essentially just be brainstorming the Wheeler seminar #2. So y'all will see kind of the inner workings and me piecing that together. But I got to get going, man. TJ the Wheel Deal signing off. I appreciate the over 1,000.
Have a good day. Have a good day. Have a good day, Albert.
Appreciate
you too. TJ, say hi to the wife. Thanks for sharing you.
Appreciate you. TJ the Wheel Deal signing off. As always, Sky Stay Blues, Doc Screen. Peace out. God bless you guys.
Bye, George.
Bye.